We're all trying to find our way in a world that is just so noisy, right? Between what everyone else thinks, what society expects, and that endless social media scroll, it can be overwhelming. But what if there's a better guide? We're going to talk about how to cut through all that noise and find your own inner compass. So let me ask you something. Do you worry about what other people think? I mean, really think about it. For most of us, if we're being honest, the answer is a big yes. We stress about the likes on a post, what our colleagues think, if we're measuring up to some standard we can't even see. But what if that whole game is rigged against you from the start? And this constant hunt for approval, our source material calls it a trap. And honestly, that's a perfect word for it. It's something we walk into that keeps us from living a life that feels genuinely ours. I mean, just think about how much of our day, our energy, is spent chasing stuff like that. A promotion, a few more likes, a pat on the back. But here's the kicker. This chase is a huge source of our modern anxiety. We're on this treadmill, but someone else keeps speeding it up. Okay, so if looking outside for answers is the trap, what's the alternative? Well, it means we have to do something kind of radical these days. We have to turn around and look inward for a guide that's a lot more stable and a lot more authentic. And this inner guide, it actually has a name. In Japanese Zen philosophy, they call it Busho. So what is that? Think of it like your factory settings, the pure, rock-solid core of who you are, before the world told you who you should be. It doesn't change, it doesn't get rattled, it's your internal, true north. Okay, but here's where it gets a little tricky. Just because a thought pops into your head doesn't mean it's your true voice speaking. We've got to become detectives of our own minds and learn to tell the difference. Yeah, our source is pretty clear on this. Your mind is a crowded place, and it's full of these imposter voices. They sound like you, they feel like you, but they're not the real deal. They're actually leading you astray. So how do we tell them apart? Well, here's a cheat sheet. The true voice, your Busho, comes from a place of just pure intention, no strings attached. But that fake voice, that's your ego talking. That's the part of you driven by vanity, by conceit, by that bottomless need for someone, anyone, to say, good job. Let's make this super practical with what the source calls the SNS dinner photo test. Picture this. You post a photo of a really nice dinner online. Now, be honest with yourself. Why did you post it? Was it to genuinely share a moment of joy? If so, great. That's your Busho. But was it maybe to make a few people a little envious or to prove that your life is amazing? See, that's the fake voice pulling the strings. The action is the same, but the motivation changes everything. All right, so now we know there's a real voice and a fake one. The big question is, how do you tune into the right station and filter out the static? Well, the method is actually pretty simple, though simple doesn't always mean easy. It all starts with something like meditation. The whole point isn't to empty your mind. That's kind of impossible. It's about quieting all that external and internal noise so you can just look inside. You're not judging. You're not trying to fix anything. You're just watching your thoughts drift by like clouds in the sky. And this is maybe the biggest light bulb moment of the whole thing. So many of us get frustrated with meditation because we think, I can't stop thinking. But here's the secret. You're not supposed to. Those thoughts, the worries, the to-do lists, the ego, that's the storm. But you are not the storm. As the quote says, you are the safe shelter watching the storm. That calm, quiet observer who's just watching it all, that's the real you. That's Busho. And look, this isn't just about sitting on a cushion for 10 minutes a day. The whole idea is to take that feeling, that connection to your inner compass, and bring it with you into your daily life, into every decision. Our source has a pretty cool name for the times we're living in, the Age of Self-Illumination. What that means is we can't really rely on outside institutions or other people to light the path for us anymore. It's on each and every one of us to become our own flashlight. So how do you do that? How do you keep your own light bright? I love this analogy. Think of it like renewing your driver's license. You don't just get it once and you're good for life, right? Every few years, you have to check in. Take a new photo, maybe an eye test. We have to do that with ourselves too. And this self-inspection isn't just about updating your resume. It's the whole shebang. We're talking about your work skills, sure, but also your emotional reactions, your patterns in relationships. You have to ask, is this reaction coming from my ego or my true self? This constant, conscious check-in, guided by that inner compass,
is what self-illumination is all about.
To really wrap this all up, there's one last really powerful image. You can live your life by one of two flames. The first one is the flame of desires. Think of it like a giant bonfire. It looks amazing, it's hot and bright, but it needs constant fuel, praise, money, likes. If you stop feeding it, it just goes out. The other choice is the flame of truth. And this is a lighthouse. It's not as flashy maybe, but it shines steadily from the inside, powered by your busho. It doesn't care if there's a storm outside, it just keeps shining. So a life spent chasing what other people think? That's the bonfire. A life guided by that quiet voice inside? That's the lighthouse. And the choice? It's really up to you. Which flame are you going to light? And that's really the heart of it all, isn't it? We spend so much time searching for answers out there, in our job title, in what people say about us, in the next big thing. But the real answers, the ones that last, they were never outside. They're already in you, just waiting for you to get quiet enough to hear them. But this leaves us with one last, and maybe the toughest question of all. It sounds great, right? Follow your inner voice. But what if that voice tells you to do something really hard? What if it tells you to quit the job you've built, or leave a relationship, or abandon the life you thought you wanted? Our source doesn't give us the answer to that one, because finding that answer, well, that's up to you.